and girls, we're here live. I got another special guest. I'm just going to let him take it away. What's up, my man, Coach Yak? Tell them who you are.
Coach Yak, I'm on Twitter, a little bit on YouTube, not as much, but I'm sure you see me out there on Twitter, not so much YouTube since I'm not very active, but I'm here to, be on a show with Raj. So let's get down to it. Let's talk Niners football.
Let's get to it. I'm going to hit the intro, and we're going to talk about George Kittle, Trey Lance, Brock Purdy, the whole damn thing. Let's get it. What's up, everybody? How are we feeling? It's another day and the same topic as always, the quarterback. It's the San Francisco 49ers, and I feel like they've been the quarterback controversy has never escaped this team since I was a young buck. I got my special guest today. I got my man, Coach Yak. As he said, he's all over Twitter. You've seen him. He posts a lot. This man, he catches stuff before I catch it half the time. I love my man, Yak, and I want to ask his question. I want to get his feelings and thoughts on the whole quarterback situation. I talked about it a lot yesterday, so I'm going to get right into it. How do you feel about this quarterback situation? Who do you think should start? Who do you think will start? What do you think about what George Kittle said? Let's get into it, man.
It's interesting because we're not going to really know until they open Purdy's arm up, right? Once they're in there and they see exactly what's going on, then they can have a diagnosis and go from there. Now, we keep hearing 6 months. That's basically the best case scenario, give or take, a couple weeks, one side or the other. But, if he's ready by that first week of August, it's going to be his job to lose.
Mm.
What we saw, you can't tell me with a serious face that he hasn't earned the starting job right away for 2023. Now, does he have the ceiling as Trey does? No, absolutely not. But at the same time, and you saw it from the time that he came in, right after Jimmy G went down, Kyle trusts him, going downfield. So he know when you have Kyle's trust, and he's got more trust in Brock than he did with Trey. Obviously, with the experience, they had different playbooks. I personally, now this is all assumption, but I personally think the playbook difference is just simply buying time for Trey, gain that experience. So, a lot of design runs, option to keep and taking himself and so forth. So I think he was just buying him game experience, and that's why we saw two different playbooks.
I 100% agree with you, and I feel like that's why when we talk about Kyle Shanahan doesn't trust Trey or he doesn't trust Jimmy, when we used to talk about that topic, is they didn't have a full grasp of the playbook. And Trey, for him, he's a 22-year-old kid. He hasn't played a lot of football. He needs the time. He needs his development. So it was, okay, we're going to let you start, but you need to continue to grasp the concepts. And he has the cannon, but he's inconsistent in the accuracy. So he hasn't shown that he can put it all together, but he hasn't had a lot of time in doing it. So with Purdy, it was like a magical run, and Kittle 100% hit it on the nail. He didn't say anything wrong. It was the fact that, hey, Purdy has shown it. He came in. He was a rookie, and it was like a magic carpet ride. It was like, holy crap, this guy's a rookie. He's poised. He's a leader. And they saw the results with him. They went to an NFC Championship game. They didn't get that with Trey, and it's no slight to Trey. Obviously, he didn't get a lot of opportunities, but they went to the NFC Championship. So they know with Brock, they can go and win. And it's not that he's a flashier athlete. It's not that he's a better player. He knows the system more. Kyle says, here, we're going to let you do this. We're going to let you do this. And he can shine. And I think in training camp, when I remember going there, Brock, he did the basic stuff. It was nothing like special, but you're like, oh, he does the basic stuff good. And with Kyle, he puts people in the doghouse, because if you're not doing exactly what he wants, you're not his lapdog, basically, he's going to be like, I don't trust you. And Trey, he did great stuff. Like, there was times where I was like, dude, he was throwing bombs. And I was like, oh my God, Trey. But then there was times where it was like a basic play, just the most basic fundamental play, and he didn't get it right. So it's like, if you're not making the basics, he may not trust you to have the full arsenal. So I agree with what you're saying. And I think Kittle was basically saying the same thing.
Well, and that's the thing. Kittle is, brutally honest. If you think about it, he is. And, a lot of fans, it's funny. So you had a divide, right? When Jimmy was here and Trey was here. So you had that divide in the fan base. And now it seems to me, now again, I'm just assuming here, it seems to me that divide that had Jimmy's back now went to Brock. Okay. And you got the Treys, we could call them groupies, Trey groupies and Brock groupies, whatever the hell you want to call them, but it's there, you still have that divide, and as fans should look at it like this. As of today, if both are healthy, Brock is the better quarterback as of today. Okay. He doesn't have the ceiling that Trey does.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we don't need a Patrick Mahomes or a Josh Allen at quarterback. We need a slightly better quarterback than what we had with Jimmy Garoppolo. And we've seen that. We've seen that with Brock, all right? His mobility, his willingness to go downfield. So a leader, Jimmy was a leader. Don't get me wrong. Jimmy was a phenomenal leader.
100%.
Okay? We're seeing that in Brock too, okay? From the first week he went into practice, he told Trent Williams and guys, shut the hell up in the huddle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he's a leader. He doesn't give a shit if he's a rookie or not. And that's what you want. And they respect him for that. And you can see the way the players rave about him. They respect him. He's gained their trust, and respect. And that's what's important. So, and again, we're all assuming here we're going to do that for the next couple of months until we know a hard date of when Brock is able to go 100%. And if it is early August, it's going to be his job to lose. If not, hey, listen. If not, fans should be like, all right, let's rock with Trey because, Trey's going to get that experience. We're going to see that, that explosive arm. All I ask is give him the playbook that Brock has, that Jimmy has. Give him the playbook, all right? I mean, come on, this is year 3. He doesn't have a lot of game experience, but he's got the playbook down. And he's a smart dude. He's figured it all out. Let him go ahead and grow with the playbook that those guys have. And I guarantee you, Kyle is a micromanager, but at the same time, he's going to have to let trust Trey and let him be himself. And I guarantee you, we're going to see good results.
100%. I agree with that. And one thing you said, kind of going back, I think Sal says it, Jimmy stands have been turned into Purdy stands. I feel that too, because I feel like the people that supported Jimmy, and I like all the guys. I agree with what you said. Jimmy was a leader. I see that out of Trey. Like you said, he's calling out Trent Williams in fucking huddle as a rookie. Nobody does. Like most of the veterans don't call out Trent, and you see it on the sidelines when he's talking to Debo and Kittle and, hyping him up. I'm like, damn, that's a rookie doing that. And then today with Kittle's comments, I feel like a lot of people may feel the same, and they kind of came to Jimmy's back, this season when Trey went down. You had Juice saying, oh, now he can play Niner football. They believe in Jimmy because they went to a Super Bowl with Jimmy. So whether you think he's good or not, they remember that with him. And now they know they went to that NFC Championship with Brock. And you're right, Trey 100% needs to prove himself. And I want him to have the fair competition, the fair shot, just like Trey said yesterday. He goes, at the end of the day, I don't want anything handed to me, even though I'm the number 3 pick. He goes, I know myself, I know my talent, but I want to at least compete. And that's all I ask, is to have a fair competition. And if they give him the same playbook and he's that talented and he can kind of get over the mental hurdles and he can prove he's a leader like the other 2 guys, he should win the job. And again, if he gets the playbook and he doesn't succeed and he falls in his face, then you can call a spade a spade. But for people saying he's a bust, we really don't know. And I like exactly what you said, is give him the playbook, because again, maybe it's the trust issue, but you don't know what you have right now. Year 3, you got to take the training wheels off, no coddling, no handhold. Give him the playbook and let's see what he has, because I think he has the skill set, but you don't want to hold him back. I get it. You need him to develop. This is year 3, man. You can't waste this window, and you have to see what you have. And, you have guys like CMC who Trey hasn't even played with. He really hasn't been in this offense. So you got to give him the options and say, here it is. Figure it out. Digest it, man. I think that's what you got to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's you just mentioned that interview. That interview was phenomenal.
Yeah.
He speaks like he's a friggin' 15-year vet the way he speaks. That was an incredible interview he had yesterday. I was really impressed.
I was too. I was like, man, I watched it and I'm like, my takeaway was that, people may not think he's great on the field or whatever, but just his character, what he said, and the way he was just so matter of fact about it. And you could tell he has thick skin. He knows people are doubting him. He knows he's being, doubted by the fans, the media, and his own teammates. They already said, like Kittle today said, hey, look, this is Brock's team. This is his team. It's his job to lose, basically. He knows that he's being doubted. And for him to come out and be as poised and calm as he was, because he could have said some shady stuff. He could have been immature. He's 22 years old. If I was 22 and I had the interview, bro, I would have said a lot of stuff. I probably would have been canceled, but he handled it very well. I think he did a very, very, very good job on the interview. But I don't know, man. The big issue, like you said, is Brock's surgery. I know they have the date set, the 22nd, and in a perfect world, if there's no setbacks, he should be back, they say, in 6 months. But you never know, because there are conflicting reports. I talked to Dr. Nav, and he says that's in a perfect world. And sometimes in the medical world, it's not a perfect world. So we'll see. I think Trey's going to get every opportunity to go out there and win this job. But for all intents and purposes, this is Brock's job to lose, because you're right. What he did, let's be honest, what Brock did in that short amount of time was crazy to me. I was like, dude, this is like, I had to keep reminding myself this is a rookie. I remember the Miami game when he comes in, Jimmy goes down, like the fans were like, what the fuck? And I'm like, oh my God. I was at the game and I see this kid. I'm like, dude, who cares about Jimmy right now? This kid is dealing. He was dealing and he had a lot of pressure on him. And I was just like, oh, we might have somebody. And then the next week, Tom Brady, all the pressure. And he came out and was throwing dimes. He's like, uh-oh. So what Brock did was special to me. So I agree with what Kittle said.
I would have loved to see him play a full 4 quarters against the Eagles.
Man.
That was frustrating. And I know the fans are frustrated, and we got to now see Eagle fans shit all over our timeline and in our tweets. I don't know about you, Raj, but and I still get them today. Like, all my tweets are like, a lot of them, and they don't pertain to the Eagles, are a lot of Eagle fans. You know, I got well over 100 DMs from Eagle fans, and the stuff that they said, I was like, I reached out to Akash. I'm like, are they doing this to you? He's like, yes. I'm like, they were insane. And I'm from the area. Okay, I'm in New Jersey, and I'm 30 minutes from the stadium.
Oh,
and let me tell you, like, it's a different world in the northeast part of the country. It really is. Like, with New York, Philadelphia, up in Boston, it's like a cutthroat attitude, man. It's nuts just the way they act. They are really, they're different humans. You really got to take a step back and be like, all right, every fan base has knuckleheads. If you want to let's just throw 10 Niner fans out there, you probably got 3 knuckleheads. But over in the Philly area and New York area, if you have 10 Eagle fans, you have more like 5 knuckleheads. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a little bit higher spread, 100%, because I got so many DMs flooded and hate. I check my mentions and it's like, just Eagle fan, just hate. I'm like, oh, I can't even take, my mentions are crazy sometimes. And then my DMs, I'm like, I'm just going to mute all these dudes. I'm not going to respond to them. It's just like that. And I have friends that went to the game, and they talked to me after the game, like, yo, Raj, I got to tell you about the stories I had. Eagles fans are diabolical. They're just terrible. Like, they were throwing stuff at them, throwing beers at them. I think you posted that video. Fred Warner's girl posted, how she was like hating. She was getting hated, man. These guys are nasty. It's a special breed. I've been in many fan bases. I've been in many stadiums, but from what I understand, Philly, they're definitely built different. Yeah.
And they'll use, we're just passionate. I'm telling you, like, my dad was a season ticket holder. You know what I'm saying? So, like, nah, we're just passionate. I'm like, that ain't passion. That's not passion, man. That's just like, that's different, man.
It's disgusting, man. It's disgusting.
And then they'll point out, well, if you look at LA, they're killing people. I get it. Everybody's got idiots in their fan base.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more in each one. It's
a lot more. Yeah, those guys are fiery, man. I don't know. I want to go to that Philly game next year, but I need to pack a bodyguard, a security, because I'm not that big of a guy. I'll get killed out there.
No, you know what? It's funny. We went last year. We went to the regular season game when they came here, and we overtook that stadium. But a big difference. Okay, the difference is a regular season game and a playoff game.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you right now, like Eagle fans left early. They were pissed. We were yelling, acting like animals. They left, and it was crazy. I mean, we took over, most of that stadium. And I knew, I'm like, this is not going to be the same environment because you're in the NFC Championship game. Now it's winner goes to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, way bigger, higher stakes. Regular season was like week 2, week 3. The stakes aren't as high, but even still now, because this might be like
now next year
when I go
when I go next year, the regular season game is going to be like a playoff game because like the fans hate each other. You know what I'm saying?
They do.
It's going to be a shit show. It will.
It's going to be nasty.
Like
they said
the San Francisco Giants when they beat the Phillies in the NLCS. Those regular season games the following year and the year after, you felt that when you were there. You felt that tension. So it'll definitely be like that in football. It'll be the same way. It'll be interesting. But
yeah, it's going to be a movie. I feel like it might be one of the first few weeks of the season just to kind of start things, off on a fiery tone. And I think, again, every Niner fan I know I've talked to that said they're going to the game, they're pissed off. So they're going to be coming in with some hostile aggression. Yeah. And it's going to be the hostile Eagle fans kind of going at it with us. It's going to be an ugly show. I mean, there might be blood on the ground at that point and not on the field. And then you got the players who are going to be pissed off. You had Trent Williams.
Oh, yeah.
He just blew, at the end of the game, he's like, you know what? I'm done. Yep. And I think that was every Niner fan.
Yeah, you had all that frustration. I mean, it's like, what the hell? We lose another quarterback, then another quarterback. It's just like, when does it end? So it was built up frustration. Plus, that guy had Debo by the face mask, and Ayuk was over there wrestling with the linebacker. So it was all built up, and it'll spill into next season. I just really would have liked to see. I mean, our defense for the most part, they did their job. DeMeco Ryans had a really good game plan. He really did. It wasn't pin your ears back and get after it with Bosa. It wasn't that way. It was set the edge. We can't allow Hurts to get out of the pocket. Okay, yeah. Our coverage was phenomenal.
Yeah, Ward and Lenore, they were holding tough. Like Hurts.
I'm telling you. Now, I mean, listen, I probably shouldn't say like I talk to Lenore often every week.
Yeah, you post. I think out of everybody I've seen on Twitter, you post about Lenore like all the time, and I'm like, I love Lenore.
Yeah, he's like, yo, flip this up or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like it'll DM me, and I gave him the numbers between DeMeco Ryans and Wilkes in the man coverage, and single high safety and blitz numbers, and he loves it. And you know what he said? His exact words were, "The man coverage is going to be lovely."
No,
because you got Ward, all right, Traverse Ward, and Lenore that both can play man coverage. Okay, so you got guys right there. Now, I love the fact that he likes to blitz more than Ryans did. So now you bring Huff down into the box and send him. You know what I'm saying? Now you start playing.
I like that because I feel like Huff, I didn't see enough of him blitzing because there was times where he blitzed and I was like, why aren't they doing this a lot? Because that man, his instincts are built for him to kind of rush down, be that spy. Yeah. I like that. And I think if they got Wilkes and he can do that with him, it's going to change the secondary because Wilkes, he has that secondary background. We got Kusurek, and we know he's going to stack this D-line. It's going to be good, whatever. I don't worry about it. But if they can improve the secondary, which was really good last year, the defense is going to be better, which is crazy. Number one defense, be better. Yeah, I'm excited for it. So
it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting with Mosley, see what he does. If he comes back, maybe a 1-year prove-it deal, play on the cheap. You know what I'm saying? Because he was going to make a lot of money this season.
Yeah, I know he was. I know for a fact he was going to make a lot of money. He actually turned down a contract. So when they gave Greenlaw that big contract, that was supposed to be E-Man, but he says, "Hey, look, I'm balling out. Talk to me at the end of the season." And then, unfortunately, the injury. So I agree. They'll probably give him like a short 1-year prove it, unless DeMeco says, "Hey, come here. I'll pay you more than the Niners."
Okay, man. Yeah,
you never know. You never know.
But you know what? I mean, I know the fans love Mosley.
He's great.
And it really took them, 3/4 of the season to get on board with Lenore. All right.
Yeah.
Now, after what you saw in the playoffs, and you saw him at the end of the season. I mean, he allowed 1 touchdown all season on a bullshit offensive pass interference that should have been called. All right, I took a lot of heat for that tweet that I flipped.
I remember that. The comment your mention, like it got ratioed because it was just all comments. I was like, damn. And I remember going because I was talking about that game, and I said, look, Lenore had one bad game, and it was the OPI, and people are like, no, he's terrible. And I said, mark my words, they're going to keep throwing at this guy, and he's going to tear it up. And I was at the game, and I was screaming. You probably saw the video. I was like, I fucking told you, Lenore. Because I said he's going to have a big playoff because I knew they were going to throw it. They're not going to throw to Ward. And he had those two picks. Like, I felt like a proud-ass dad. I was like, there you go, Lenore. That's what you got to do. And he stepped it up, man.
Fans got to realize this was only his second season, okay? Cornerback is the hardest position to play. You're covering dudes that can run a 4-2, that can stop on a dime. You know what I'm saying? Make cuts this way. You gotta understand. Like, fans gotta say, they gotta understand. All right, what this defense looks for is, number one, is sure tackling. All right, and that was huge. Look at Gibson, right? Jimmy Ward, all those years, sure tacklers. You know what I'm saying? He wants his secondaries. Ward, Charvarius Ward. All right, Lenore. These guys, they played a lot of zone. So what happens is you allow the catches in front of you, but they come down to make the tackle. We'll give you 5 to 8 yards.
We'll give you the short yards. It's fine. You're gonna eat up stats.
We're gonna come down. We're gonna come down and make the tackle. That's what they want.
If you get six 10-yard catch, 6 9-yard catches, your stats might look a little. Oh wow, you had like 90 yards, but you didn't do shit. You didn't make a big play. You didn't make a big play. You didn't get a touchdown. There was one big play that Ward let up in the last couple of weeks. It was a touchdown to DK in the playoffs. But other than that, he didn't give up a big play. He was not getting burnt like everybody was saying. And that's what people think. They see this box score and they're like, oh, he let up 90 yards. But if you actually watch, it's just like underneath crap. Well, I'll let him have that all day.
Yep. That's what they want. They want short tacklers, and that's what both their corners are right now. You know, it'll be interesting to see, you know, and Jimmy Ward mentioned that about Womack, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he let out that they like him. We were like, what the hell is going on in preseason? He was like locking shit up, Womack. And all of a sudden, after Chicago, because he was out of position, okay, that was it. And now it all came together, you know, and again, I'm talking about Lenore now. He mentioned that about how Kyle came to him in August. He said, I want you to be a dog. I want you to be an asshole. Okay. So he had given me a couple clips, and I didn't flip it up. I'm like, I can't flip this up today. I'm like, Wilkes, you know, just got hired. I'm like, the timeline is too hot. I'll flip this up in a week or so. So I got a bunch of clips of him making tackles. I'm like, that's what Kyle wants. He likes that aggression. Charvarius is aggressive. You know, Jimmy Ward was always aggressive. You know what I'm saying? So he wants that mentality. He wants an asshole, dog. And
that's what he wants. He wants a guy that doesn't need to be coddled. Like, he's gonna go in there and show that aggression. Because I see it when I've been to training camp and stuff, and I see it, and like you could tell when Kyle's like fired up and you're out there just doing what you got to do, and they're not having to correct you, and you come every day, you come early, you hit your assignments, he's gonna reward you, especially if you're young. Right. But it's when you start messing up, when you start slipping up, and you're not bringing that dog out. Kyle starts getting under you, and he's like, dude, you can do better. And that's what he did with Ayuk, right? Ayuk said the same thing. He goes, Kyle told me I'm not that good. I need to get better. I remember there was an interview. I can't remember. I think it was on KMBR. And he says, in college, everybody told me I was great. Herm Edwards told me I was the greatest receiver. And he goes, Kyle Shanahan was the first person that told me that I'm not even that good of a receiver. And he says he took it personal. He worked on his craft, and that's when he kind of bounced out of the doghouse. But I bet he internalized that, and he was like, pissed off at himself. Like, what do you mean I'm not good? But once he accepted it and he brought that dog out, now look at Brandon Ayuk, 1,000-yard receiver. And I could see that with Lenore because he was playing last year in his rookie season, and then all of a sudden, where did he go, right? And I think it's the same issue that happened to Ambry is he got his opportunity, he didn't show that dog, and now we haven't seen from Ambry the whole year. So
that'll be I don't know. I mean, honestly, Ambry, you know, he showed promise last year. He was in position, got mossed a few times, but you know, that Tennessee game, he was in position a lot. He looked pretty good, you know, but I mean, he didn't have that. He doesn't have that dog mentality.
He doesn't have that dog in him.
No, you need, you know, and you know, I coach, and we use the word dog, or you know, I use the word you got to be a motherfucker. And that's
you got to be an ass.
That's what you want. You want that attitude on air. You can't be out there playing patty cake. You know what I'm saying? So that's what Kyle wants. He wants that aggression, man. So it'll be interesting what they got. That defense is going to be good. just I want to see them add. And I flipped up that tweet today about adding another defensive and a sack specialist. That's what
I
we
agree,
need.
100%.
You can't have Brooks on one side, Armstead in the middle, and a bunch of dudes that are solid, but are only going to get you 4 or 5 sacks a season. That's nothing.
That's not enough.
You need somebody that's a sack specialist that get 8, 10 sacks a season.
I need a double-digit guy here, and I need a double-digit guy. That's exactly what my take was last week when they asked me. I did a free agency show, and I said my number one guy, like, I get it, we need an O-line. I need a sack specialist to help Bosa because he was grabbing his stomach. He was tired in the playoffs. He was gassed out, carrying everybody. I get it. Like, we had solid guys, but all those guys together on the D-line, they didn't even have as many sacks as Bosa combined. That's crazy to me.
That's right. Exactly. They were solid. That was it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would like to retain 1 or 2 of those, but you don't want to keep them all.
No,
you know what I'm saying? Maybe a Menahu, but again, they're rotation pieces.
Yeah, they're just rotations.
No, that's all it is. Now, the concern is, once they start, if they do Christian McCaffrey and restructure his contract to extend them, same with Bosa, you free up I think it's like $24 million. If you free up that money, you got to start looking, all right, well, what's the deal? What are we going to do with Ayuk? You know what I'm saying? What are we going to do with that contract there? So it'll be interesting. I mean, I don't see them keeping McGlinchey. I mean, the fan base hates him. He's not a bad guy. He's not as bad as
the people. Man, they go for this man's throat. Like, he's a good run blocker. He's going to get a pretty decent amount. Yep. He improved in pass protection, but the fan base.
Just be careful.
I swear to God.
Be careful what we wish for. Because we're bad mouthing McGlinchey. Believe me, I flipped up a few tweets and ripped them, right?
Yeah.
You're going to get beat as an offensive lineman. You throw the ball 30, 32 times in a game. If you get beat once or twice in a game, is it really that bad at a 32 times? It's not as bad, but it's the way he got beat.
It's the way he gets beat. And it's like, it's an embarrassing way sometimes. And you're like, he was a first-round pick. It like makes you like, it pisses you off. And then the penalties, I think the penalties to me are the biggest issue because it derails drives. It causes the other team to stay in the game. So those things are bad, but he's going to get paid pretty good on the market because I'm looking at the right tackle market or the tackle market in general. He's probably top 3 tackle on the market. He's going to get paid.
He's going to get paid the most. He's kind of going to get paid the most. So
you're probably
now
right.
We got McKivitz. So now that's what I'm about to say. So fans got to be careful now because we used to badmouth McGlinchey, but McKivitz looked like dog crap in the preseason and got his ass kicked. All right, against the Rams last year when he filled in for Trent. People are like, oh, well, we won. We won with McKivitz at tackle. Bro, he gave up, I think, 2.5 sacks.
He was bad.
4 or 5 pressures. Yeah, you won. It wasn't sure as hell because of him. So just be careful, about wanting McGlinchey gone because what we got in his place isn't.
It might be worse. Yeah, if we downgrade from McGlinchey, this fan base is going to lose their shit. But at the same time, the moment we drop the notification, Mike McGlinchey has re-signed with the 49ers, the comments are going to be crazy. I already know, how it goes off season. It's going to be interesting. I don't think we retain him. Personally, I would move Burford to right tackle. He's played tackle in college. He's still young enough to kind of, I feel, take that role and be good there. I think he's a dog that could continue to get better this year because I've seen the 49ers have taken these players year 2. They make big leagues like Hufanga. So maybe he could be the guy, bring back Brunskill. I don't mind bringing back Jake Brendel. I know they got younger guys like Zakel and Poe.
He was solid.
Yeah,
he's good. Brendel was really solid. He allowed 1 sack, and I think it was like I don't even know if he allowed more than 23 pressures all season, 23 or 24. He was really solid. He actually was the 3rd best out of centers with pass blocking efficiency, and that's where you can really tell about sacks allowed per snaps and so forth. So he was like, the run game, he had a nice block against Arizona and Mexico. But, I mean, he did get beat up in the trench on, short yardage situations. He's probably got to put on a little bit of weight. I mean, his footwork's really good. But, I'd like to see him. To me, he's an off-season priority. We want to keep him back.
I like him. He was solid. And you got to realize this was only his first year as a starter at center. He's been a journeyman, so he can only improve. I like him. Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. He was good. Yeah. And the thing is, they lost Alex Mack, so I was like, oh, man, it's going to be a huge loss. He pretty much played almost as good as Alex Mack. Obviously, it wasn't Mack's he had a good season, but I mean, this was the tail end of his career. So I think he filled in admirably. I think he would be a solid guy to bring back for a year or two, and then continue to develop those younger guys because I don't think they're ready yet.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I would like him back.
Quick, Raj, I keep seeing this up here, that Drew C.
Yeah.
So the Drake Jackson.
Yeah, right? I wanted to bring that up.
Okay, that came up quite a bit in my tweet today.
Yeah.
And I get that. All right. I personally think he's going to be a really good player. Mm-hmm. However, I don't know if he becomes a monster in year 2. Nah. So you don't put all your eggs in one basket and sit there and say, you know what? We're not going to go throw $10, $11 million at a sack specialist, $12 million. All right. We're going to put all our eggs in one basket of Drake, because if Drake isn't who we expect him to be, we're screwed.
Now you're screwed. No, and that's my take is I like Drake. I think he can be great, and I think Chris Kachuk will work his magic on him. But I don't know if he'll be a 10 sack guy, a double-digit sack guy in year 2. I think he will be eventually. But Kyle said it too in his press conference last week or 2 weeks ago. He said, look, we like Drake. He flashed. But as the season went on, he just wasn't strong enough. He kind of needs to get stronger. He needs to build himself. He's only played in college football where the seasons are 11, 12 games. So he needs to build that strength. And that tells me that if for him to get 10 sacks through a whole NFL season, he's going to wear himself out. I don't know. So you're right. Get another guy and have Drake to be a solid rotational guy. Right. Continue to get stronger. I 100% agree. I don't know if we get Yannick because I think that's who you posted on the post.
Yeah,
he's a little expensive.
I put that up because we don't. If you look at the free agent list for defensive end, it's not anything like that special. Stands out. So I'm looking at it. I'm like, you know what? If you look at his numbers every freaking year, he's had. I think it was like 8 sacks, 7.5 or 8 sacks every year of his career. I mean, he's legit. You know what you're getting.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. You don't know what you're getting in year 2 with Drake. You know what you would get with Yannick. That's what I'm saying. You have, just like all these fans about, they want to savor these draft picks and where you had the Rams that were saying, no, we'll give you draft picks because we want the player. You know what you get in a player that's done it compared to a draft pick.
Yeah, so 100%. It's a proven commodity, and I agree with that take. It's with this guy what you're gonna get. You're gonna get at least eight sacks, and that is more than any other player got on this team. I think the most was 4.5 next to Bosa. I would take the 8 sacks over 4.5. Yeah. So. 5 sacks. Ebicam, what do you have? 5 sacks this year? Yeah. So 100%. I'd take as many as I can, and then you can bring on those depth pieces. But I don't think they're going to bring all those guys because we got Jordan Willis, you got Samson Ebicam, and Charles Omenihu. I don't think they bring all 3 of those guys back.
No.
There's no way.
I would say, Willis can come back on a cheap. You know what I'm saying?
I like him.
Throw something cheap at him. Maybe $2 million, $2.5 million for a year, whatever may be the case. He's good against the run. And again, and people sitting there and say, well, Yannick sucks against the run. It's not about stopping the run.
We need a pass rush specialist.
Off the edge and get after it depending on down and distance. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If it's second and long, third and long, you're not going to sit there and run the ball. You're going to throw the ball on second and third and long. So that's why you need a sack specialist.
Exactly, because you need a guy that can stop the run, but you also need a guy that can get after the quarterback because Nick Bosa is the only guy that we have, and he's gassed out by the NFC Championship game. I feel bad for the guy.
A replacement for Kinlaw?
I was just going to bring this up because this is a guy we're talking about the off season. We're talking about the D-line. We're talking about replacing guys. So, as you said, BA, right, Kinlaw, they were both drafted in the first round the same year. Both of them have their 5th options that could be picked up this year. I'm pretty sure they're going to pick up BA's, his $14 million 5th-year option. May 1st is when it has to be picked up by the deadline. Javon Kinlaw, also May 1st. It's a $10 million 5th-year option. There's no way they're picking that up. What do you think they do with Kinlaw? Do they keep him around?
No.
You can't get any value out of him. What's
that? And that's what I flipped that up yesterday. I'm like, there's no way, you don't pick up that option. It's not worth it. He's got a bad knee.
Yeah.
And you let him play out this year. He's made his I think it was $15.5 million guaranteed, which is great. He grew up poor.
Yeah.
He just made $15.5 million. That is great.
That's amazing.
And I hope he can. He's got a D-line coach that reached out. Quote tweeted my my tweet yesterday, and I said, man, and I'm like, listen, man, but it's in the knee. I don't, yeah, you can work on his leverage and you can work his technique, and his get off is horrible. It's slow, but you can't fix his knee issue. And that's the thing. I mean, if he could play 3-4 more years and make more money, that's great. I don't think it's going to be after this year here. I mean, after this 2023 season, I think that's it. Unless, what I'm saying, unless he takes, chump change.
Takes a big leap and takes a cheap contract, which you're right. For him, he got the 15 mil. That's great for him. He grew up poor, so this is amazing for him. He's, probably doing the best he has in life. And unfortunately, the knee issues have limited his development. And my man Peter Parker says that Kinlaw's got to go. The Philly tape is atrocious. That Philly tape.
But listen, all right, listen. This is what everybody has to understand. Now, we all saw Armstead come to his defense, right? Did you see that?
Yeah, he did. So he did.
Armstead's the winning. Where he was lined up could not get in that A gap. He's a great teammate, Armstead, coming to his defense. He saw that. I flipped up a couple of videos, and Ian Williams grabbed it. Once he grabbed it, the players saw it.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, listen, I tip my cap to Armstead for saying that's my fault. I should have gotten there. No, listen, you couldn't have gotten to that A gap. I don't give a crap who you were. You were too far away to get across his face and get to that A gap. Now, Kinlaw, his problem was, his get off is slow as hell. That's all Kelsey had to do was pop him on the hip. I teach line, and that's what I teach my linemen. Hit the hip. Once you bring your head across, step into that gap, right, on that 45-degree angle, hit the hip. Once you hit that hip, you take the power away from your opponent. And that's what I did. He went friggin' flying down the line.
He flew because you're right. He had no leverage. And again,
done.
And it's, again, you got to commend Armstead for making that comment. But at the same time, what he's saying is it's a technique flaw. But then again, you're going to be in your fourth year now. You're having technique issues. That tells me you haven't played. Again, he hasn't played because of the injury issues. And we're going to sit here and be like, dude, can he be the guy to help stop the gaps in the run? No, you can't count on it. And that's why last year I was a little irritated that they didn't keep DJ Jones. I get it. He was expensive. But to me, out of every offseason move that they didn't make, that was the one that I was like, fuck, man. Because Aaron Banks, I was like, he might be able to step in good. And because he's playing next to Trent Williams, he proved everybody wrong. But, man, I was not sure about Kinlaw because he hasn't been able to stay healthy. And it's been a couple of years. And, man, DJ Jones was a massive loss to me.
Yeah, and that's the thing. DJ wasn't going to put up monster numbers, but he was always in the backfield.
Always.
He was cat-like quick. All right. For as big as he was super quick. And if you're in the backfield, now all of a sudden you disrupt the play. If it's a run, he's got to bounce one or two holes over. All right. If it's a pass and he's in the backfield, now all of a sudden you change the quarterback's vision. His line is, you know what I'm saying? So that's what you got to look at. What is Kinlaw doing? If you watched that Raiders game, when he penetrated, he was going 7-8 yards too deep, bro. They were running under him. You can't go that deep. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He played very reckless in that Raiders game, and if anybody watched that tape, you would see how they were running under him. He's just trying to get his power. The money line.
That's the thing with Kinlaw. He's so strong. Like he wants to prove he's Conan the Barbarian.
No, that's youth. That's youth and middle school and high school football. You don't need to prove your strength by just bullying somebody 8 yards back. No. You know what I'm saying? You got to get in there. You got to get off that block within 3 yards, and that's what you need. You don't need to push a guy all the way back 8 yards because there's your cutback lane. Quarterback sees it. There's pressure going to come right through that hole.
100%.
And I guarantee you, because Eric's probably like, Jesus Christ with this guy.
Yeah, and I agree. And again, that comes with it's just the fact he's so undeveloped because he hasn't played a lot. So in his mind, he's like, I just got to show him I'm strong. I just got to show him I'm strong because that's the young man mentality. Like like you said, he's like, in his mind, he's still a rookie. I mean, his what has he played? What 14 games, 15? I don't even think he's played 15 games in his career. It's crazy. That's sad. It's unfortunate. Yeah, it's unfortunate, man. I mean, I like the guy. I know he works hard. Like he transformed his whole body. It's crazy. But knee issues are knee issues, man. You got to call it as it is. And I think what's going to happen is they're going to allow him to come in. He's going to go to training camp. He's going to have to prove he can stay healthy. And he doesn't have it, he doesn't have it. And if he doesn't play well this season, it's going to be his last year with the team.
I agree.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, man. I don't know. I'm excited. Defense, we hit that. The quarterback situation is going to be ever revolving. Every single day is going to be a new rumor. Again, we did say this is Purdy's job to lose. I agree with it. Hopefully Trey gets a fair chance. I don't know. Anything else you want to bring up? What do you think about the Super Bowl this weekend? Who do you got? Do you even care? Are you like CMC and hope they both lose?
All right. So I want the Eagles to lose. Yes, okay. My whole family are Eagle fans, and I get that. I mean, I want them to lose. That being said, if I was a betting man, and don't think I didn't think about it with my work bonus, drive down to HC. If I was a betting man, I would put my entire bonus on that Eagles. I mean, I think the spread's 1.5.
Yeah, it's like a pick 'em.
Yeah. Listen, the Lions win the game. That offensive line is nasty.
It is.
Defensive line, I personally think we're going to see almost like a replay of what we saw with Mahomes against Tampa Bay running for his life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Kansas City has enough weapons. All right, you got Kelsey. Yeah, if you're the Eagles, you got to focus on that right there. Just bracket cover Kelsey. If you take him out, you see what I'm saying? You don't have anything outside of that. Bracket his ass. Now, again, I hope I'm wrong. All right.
Yeah.
But if I'm telling you, if you're a bettor, listen, don't put this on me. But I'm saying,
if they bet because
put all my money on the Eagles,
come at your neck.
Right? They're gonna be flooding my DM. Yeah, man, what are you doing, man? You just made me lose my money. Can't see anyone. Yeah.
They're gonna be like, don't ever get him back on your show, Raj. F that, man. Yeah.
That's a good point. So Davis turns out to be our next DJ Jones. You know what?
Yeah.
But again, he's another guy. He's coming off an injury.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what to expect. That would be like a diamond in a rough. You know what I'm saying? Like if he can prove that he's a player, it's somebody, because if you think about it, he's like one of those, we're not expecting anything out of you right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You can come in and give us production, just get in the backfield. I mean, like Kevin Givens, get in the backfield, be disruptive, make plays in the run game. You know what I'm saying? Just disrupt shit in the backfield. Then that would be phenomenal. I mean,
I think he's a good prospect. He's going to be a player that they can help be part of that rotation, that depth. But I don't expect him to be a primetime playmaker. Next year is basically going to be his rookie year. Yeah. And we know how they are with the rookies. They're going to give him some opportunities, see how they do, like we talked about today. I hope he continues to improve and develop. But again, big injury. You don't know that he's going to be like 100% ready to go, ferocious. I think he'll be a guy like Kevin Givens where he can give him a couple snaps here and there during the game. And as he gets stronger, as he builds up his endurance and his strength, he'll be a bigger part. But to be DJ Jones right off the jump, I don't think so. Because it even took DJ Jones a few years to become DJ Jones, It took him a couple of years. And he had some injuries he dealt with too. So I like Kalia. I like the potential. But, I mean, I can't expect him to be that guy in his first year. But I like the guy. I think he'll be talented and hopefully be a run stopper. That's what we need in those trenches.
We got a ton of draft picks. It'll be interesting to see how they fill it out. I mean, you're going to have to draft at least one, if not two, interior offensive linemen. You need a tight end.
Yeah.
Defense, you got to get a safety. I mean, if Gibson does come back and he doesn't retire, so you're going to get another year of him, that's solid play. I mean, listen, look, man. I mean, a lot of – me included, we ripped Jimmy Ward, for years. Early on he was always getting injured. When he came back, he wasn't getting the interceptions.
No.
He dropped some at his hands. But, in his defense, him and Tart weren't asked to play robber, okay? And that's why they didn't get the interceptions. But once Ward went to corner, went to the slide, he started picking the ball. You see what I'm saying? So, now they've changed that, and now you start seeing it with Huff. And you saw with Gibson with the interceptions. They're playing more robber, and that's what happens. They're creating turnovers. But back to Gibson, I think you got to draft his replacement.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to go out and get like a Jesse Bates and spend that kind of money on the back end. I don't
I wish. I hope they do. I would love to get Jesse Bates, but you're right. They got a lot of
you
players.
can't, right now. All right, you look at it. Right? Would you go get Jesse Bates and spend that money there, or would you rather go get an edge? Right.
I'd get the edge because it's more. It's the bigger issue.
Listen, you can't cover forever, right?
Yeah,
you can't
100%.
cover forever. So go get that D line. Go get somebody that's going to be in the backfield with Bosa, and that way that quarterback's got to get that ball out in 2.5 seconds.
I agree. That's the goal. And again, like you said, the game's dominated in the trenches. So the smarter money is to go get that D lineman, draft a replacement for the future. I hope Gibson comes back because he was so underrated.
Yeah.
If you get him back on a 1-year deal before he retires, Hufanga needs to convince him because that's his dog. He talked a lot about him, this week in Jennifer Lee Chan's post, how he was his this guy that saved his life, saved his career. He just the bond he has. So hopefully that bond is enough to bring him back. But you're right, Jimmy Ward, man, he's gonna be a big miss because I'm pretty sure writing's on the wall. He's gone. People dogged him for years, but he did so many different things, in this scheme that he wasn't gonna go get those big stats. He wasn't gonna get those numbers, but he was such a leader in this clubhouse. So I'm gonna miss Jimmy. I think he was a dog. But if they do lose Jimmy, I hope that they bring back Gibson at the very least because you need those veterans.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. It's gonna be interesting, man. But NFL honors tonight. I'm gonna probably hop off here and then get ready for that. What do you think? You got any predictions? You think Bosa wins Defensive Player of the Year?
Yeah, that should be a slam dunk.
Yeah.
I think Bosa wins. You know what? Christian McCaffrey, I could see winning comeback player of the year. Kyle, I think Kyle's going to get screwed over.
He will.
I think I'm wrong.
He will.
We'll see. We'll see how that goes, but I think he gets screwed over.
I think Dayball is going to win. You can make an argument for all three coaches because they all did a good job. But I mean, Kyle, Mr. Irrelevant, NFC Championship. That's great.
Well, who the hell's doing that on your third string quarterback? That's what amazes me. You put any of the other coaches in there and take their quarterback out, right? Take Jones out of New York and put your second, not even your third. Look at the freaking Eagles. Eagles couldn't even with their backup quarterback. Put your backup quarterback in New York. Let's see how he does there as a coach.
They couldn't even win with their starting quarter or the Jets. Yeah, but if they didn't have Danny Dimes, I don't know if they would have won games.
No, they wouldn't have. And that's my point. Like, look what Kyle did with a third string quarterback. And that should have won it. But again, we'll see. Hopefully I'm wrong. I think he gets screwed over.
I think so. I think Dayball is going to win. I have this vibe because it's the Giants. They haven't made the playoffs in years. The Niners have a stacked roster. They're good. That's it. Comeback player of the year. I don't think CMC gets it. I think it's going to be Geno for whatever reason. The NFL loves Geno Smith.
You know what? That could very well. I mean, listen, we all hate Seattle, but if you look at Geno's numbers, man, pretty fucking.
They were pretty good. And then people are going to say, what did he come back from? I mean, he was a career journeyman. Yeah. He's been on every team. He's backed up like so many quarterbacks. So for him to come in, take over Russell Wilson and be better than Russell Wilson this year, I guess he'll be comeback player of the year. I mean, but he didn't really come back from an injury. So it's kind of weird.
From sucking. No.
he came back from
being a journeyman.
I remember, I saw comments. People were like, well, he came back from being mid. Is that what it is? So maybe he'll win. And then I think Bosa, if he doesn't win, I'm rioting. Twitter's going to be crazy tonight, the 49ers Twitter. If he doesn't win.
I mean, well, there's no way. I'm telling you, Bosa is definitely going to win.
Yeah. He's got it. He's got it in the bag.
And don't forget, we got Patrick Willis, too.
Yeah, right? Hall of Fame.
I think he finally gets selected.
I hope he does. If he doesn't, man, I'm going to be – because this is the fourth year he's been trying to get in. It's crazy to me.
Jesus. God. Yeah, I think he finally gets in, though.
I hope he does. And then the MVP, you got Mahomes, Jalen Hurts. I think it's going to be one of those two.
Yeah.
That's going to be crazy because whoever loses is going to be pissed off going into the Super Bowl. I think that's a good storyline, the script. Yeah. And then Offensive Rookie of the Year. You think Brock wins it?
What do you play? 7 games?
Yeah.
Is that what he played? I mean, in the regular season, I think that's a coin toss.
It's coin flip.
People sit there and say, well, he basically didn't even play half a season, and I get that point there, but look what
he did in that half season.
In those games. He didn't lose. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he won what? Rookie of the month, rookie of the week. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, listen, it wouldn't have changed if he played the whole year. It would have been incredible. So, I don't know. I mean, I think that's a coin toss. I think there's a decent chance he does win. I mean, it'll be hard to do with, so little games, but I mean, No, it's
It's
coin.
tough. It's tough because
Yeah.
people in the chat says he had the biggest impact, even though he didn't play the most games. His impact on the team was bigger than those guys because he helped this team get to the playoffs. Like again, third quarterback, he came in, they won games, the offense got better. I think he won't get it. I think it's going to be Garrett Wilson because he played the year and he had 1,000 yards.
You know
but
what?
To me, it just doesn't make sense because we see 1,000-yard receiver as a rookie a lot nowadays. Like the league is a passing league. There was games where he had like 30 yards. It wasn't a huge
see,
impact.
that's the thing. I had Wilson in my fantasy, so I had to pay attention to him all year. If he had a competent quarterback all season, his monster number. I'm telling you right now, he couldn't be covered. But they had dog crap. For a quarterback for most of the year.
100%.
That's real quick. Alberto, right? Alberto, you're right on that. If Chris McCaffrey doesn't win, they should interview him real quick.
They should. He'll say, "F your comeback." That guy, Christian McCaffrey was so spicy this week in the interviews. I mean, he was telling them, "I don't care who. I want them both to lose."
He was on fire, man.
F your fantasy team. He was on fire, man. I'm so happy we got.
Did you hear his mom talk?
Yeah.
His mom's just like him, dude. I'm like, damn. I'm like,
he got it from his mom.
Yeah. Yep.
He got it. Yeah, that was good stuff, man. But I'm excited for this offseason. I'm excited for tonight's NFL honors. But appreciate you hopping on, man. Anytime, you're always welcome. I'm glad you came on. Again, tell them where to find you.
Yeah, Coach Yak on Twitter. If you haven't been following me, go ahead and you'll see me out there. Raj and I usually tweet friggin', pretty close. Our tweets are usually going out, within a couple of minutes of each other.
Yeah.
The difference is Raj gets 3,000-4,000 likes. Mine only hovers around 500. So, but you'll see me around on there. I appreciate you, Raj, for having me on. Yeah, we should do this more often.
We should, man. Hop on. I'll let we'll try to do this. I go live a lot all the time.
I see you.
Instagram, always grinding. So anytime you got free time, let me know, and then we'll try to make something happen. So
absolutely, brother. Thanks for having me on.
Anytime. Appreciate you, man. I'll see you around. Have a good rest of your night.
Thanks. You too.
All right. Everybody else, thank you for hopping in. Make sure you hit that like button, all that good stuff. Tell your friends to subscribe if they haven't. I love you guys. Have a good night. We'll be live a little later after the NFL honors, and we'll be talking about all the awards. If Bosa wins, we're getting hyped. If Bosa loses, we're about to run shit up. So I love you guys. Have a good night.